camera. Welcome to the planetary forecast, guys. How you been? How you feeling? Happy new moon. Being the new moon energy. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. We're about to enter eclipse season. We're retrograde season. It's a lot going on. We have our major meteor shower on the way. And I just want to give y'all a new moon to new moon, situation. Let y'all know what's to look forward to. If you guys have any questions, anything y'all want to add, you already know you're more than welcome to do that. This is a safe space for communication. All right. Well, I'm gonna do new moon. Hey, Leonidas, new moon. We're gonna talk about the full moon energy because we are in eclipse season, and the full moon will also be an eclipse. We're gonna talk about the full moon too, and then we're gonna get into the next new moon. We actually we got like a whole. We haven't had a rectangle in the sky in a really long time. We're gonna have a rectangle in the sky, y'all. We had a star at David in the sky last weekend, which was pretty interesting. I don't know if y'all was feeling it with the air and fire signs. Yeah, you can ask a question with the air and fire signs, but we definitely had our double triangles in the sky for that. So let's get into it. I will start off. Let me think. How do I want to do this? La, 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 la. I guess I'll do it like elemental. We could do it elemental. So let's start off. Y'all know I like to start off with the thoughts. So we are going to start off with air. I'm working overnight. Glad I got to stop by for a minute. Oh yeah, hey, thank you for stopping by. I literally just started. I just got here. I just got here. I've been over here for like 2 minutes. But I want to get a planetary forecast before I take it down. Trying to start this new moon off right with my intentions and doing my ones and twos. How do I get better? How should I be able to understand things and people better? If you would like a personal reading, you can reach out for a personal reading. That's a big question, and I would need to know details to what you're talking about as far as getting better and all those things. But let's start with air energy, our thoughts, our sword vibes. All right, so in this new moon, hey, peace. I see Aurora at the end. Jason, I'm sorry if I mispronounced you, but we'll start with the cardinal. We'll start with the cardinal air, which is Libra. So right now, during this new moon, remember the new moon is about new beginnings. This is about, starting a new cycle. What do you want to do this lunar cycle? In some cultures, the new cycle is full moon. Here we do new moon. I like new moon, and then we're gonna build up to the full, which is usually the moon of celebration, and then go back down to the new moon. But yeah, that's what the new moon is about. We're starting a new cycle. For some of you guys are finishing the last cycle and making space for a new. We know that this moon is in Cancer zodiac, so in our mindset is about intuition, home and family, our safe spaces, our intuition, emotional security, emotional healing, all those kinds of things, releasing, different things that weren't good for our emotions, all that stuff. And then in the Vedic chart, we are still in Gemini constellation. So the constellation deals with community. So not only are we dealing with our home and our family, but we're also dealing with our community. Some of you guys are moving to the next town over, opportunities coming your way, closing up with certain opportunities and opening with new opportunities. Having that sense of balance between being that warrior and taking action versus, being more so go with the flow kind of, the mortal and immortal, being brash versus being logical and kind of thinking yourself out of things. We want to find a balance with that, you know what I'm saying? So, Libra is the cardinal air, and, starting this lunar cycle, we don't have any celestial bodies in Libra energy at the moment. Libra is in the fourth house of home and family. So we want to balance here, right? We want balance. We want justice. We want truth here. Our interpersonal relationships and our safe spaces are on the forefront, coming to terms with that. You know, we're in the Mercury retrograde right now. So certain people, you may have had interpersonal relationships that once upon a time you thought was your safe space, but not in your safe space anymore. Those people might be coming back. And sometimes it's not always the actual person. Sometimes it's the energy coming back. You know what I'm saying? In a different body, you know. So being able to recognize that energy in a different body, being in your truth when you're in the presence of that energy, like, hey, that might have worked for me before, but I realized in the long term that you was not a safe space for me. This was, you know, emotionally taxing, you're emotionally draining, this, that, and the third. This ain't what I want. So, you know, that's how we're starting off the space. And this is also helping us with our sense of belonging. We know the IC line is right there, which deals with our sense of belonging. Now, by the time we get to the full moon energy, which will be our lunar eclipse, Libra energy will have, where are you at? The first house. So now it'll be on, so how well you do from this energy all the way up to the full moon. And I believe the full moon is around the first. But let me double check. I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to lie. It's the 29th. So the 29th of July is the full moon. It'll be at 9:36 a.m. if you want CST, which is cool because it's 9:36. You know what I'm saying? This is when the Earth is between the sun and the moon. And I can't believe I didn't have that written down. Yeah, by the time we get to the next new moon, we will be in the total solar eclipse will be on 8/12. 8/12/1. That's 11. That's a day of 3. So we got 7/29. That's 11, 18, 19. That's 1. That's a day of 2. And then the new moon will be on the day of 1. Okay, cool. So on 7/29, we'll actually have the first house being in Libra. So, you know, how well you do with dealing with your fourth house and home and family, that's what's going to be on the outside of you. So if you don't take care of your emotions, you don't take care of nurturing yourself and nurturing your interpersonal relationships, nurturing your truth and your intuition and your bonds. Some of y'all got some bonds out there that y'all made with people and y'all are not fulfilling them. You are not nurturing them. You are, you know, you just planting a bunch of bonds with people and stuff like that. You know who you are, and you're not being truthful in them. Guess what? It's going to be all up in your aura come this full moon. And it's going to, you know, you're going to be attracting people, places, things, situations that's going to feed off of that. You know what I'm saying? How balanced you are in that space, how well you've been in truth. That means like coming up to like karmic situations where other people gonna come to your space and gaslight you back. You know what I'm saying? Other people gonna come in your space and make bonds that they don't want to keep and things like that. So you want to be mindful. You definitely want to keep those scales balanced. And if you are allowing people to come in your space and do that to you, this is a great time to cut that shit out. Cut it off. From the words of a Virgo, you know Virgos is good at it. We gonna cut a motherfucker off real quick. Okay, don't let that shit linger in your space because again, like I said, it's gonna become a part of the auric body by the time you get to Libra. Now, when we get to the next new moon, we're actually gonna have Venus in Libra. Venus moves kind of fast. We out here, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna have Venus in Libra at 5 degrees. So it's gonna be in the cardinal space. So happy, you know, Venus return. You know, by the time we get to the new moon, and it's going to be in the 11th house. So we're going to be valuing and prioritizing our friendships, our relationships, being revolutionary in these spaces. So new friends, however, they will be a reflection of where you're at, you know, how well you've been doing the work. Remember what I said, that full moon, people, you're going to attract people and then you're going to be like, dang, why I keep attracting the same kind of people? Why, Well, when you was in that home and family and that intuition, you wasn't ready to cut this person off. You wasn't ready to cut that person off. You was over here letting such and such gaslight you. You was letting such and such over there playing your face. You over here playing in people's faces. You over here gaslighting this person and this person. You telling half truths, you know what I'm saying? Omission is a form of lying. So if you got this person and that person and that person and you know for a fact that they probably thinking XYZ and you don't want to be accountable because, just because I'm not telling them. Well, you have the knowledge and you know people, you know you're creating a certain kind of impression, or you're creating a certain kind of reality without direct conversation. Y'all be knowing what y'all doing. Just because it don't come out your mouth doesn't mean that you're not behaving in a certain way that's creating a certain kind of, atmosphere. Oh, because I ain't say, straightforward that, I'm, exclusive with you, or I'm going to do this with you, or da 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 da. Just because, so as soon as that person try to check me, I'm be like, well, I never said that. Well, you was acting like it. So, and guess what? Come around that next new moon, that's what you're going to trade. It's going to come right back to that ass. All right. So clean it up now, y'all. Clean it up now, especially before we get to that new moon, because that full moon, because you'll start to see that you're, starting to take on friends. You're going to start taking on relationships. You're going to start attracting things, Then we get into mutable, our flexible air. Our flexible air is Gemini. So this new moon energy, while we're starting this new cycle, like, well, on the Vedic scale, the moon is in Gemini constellation, but I'll talk about tropical with y'all this time around. We have Uranus providing the progressive pushes, revolutionary pushes, rebellious pushes, and it's pushing us towards community. This is going towards the 12th house too. 12th house is the house of endings, Akashic records. A lot of, Gemini energy, wherever Gemini is at in your chart, was, tied up in some type of contract, how you're going to spend your energy. And right now we're really talking heavily on solar plexus contracts, because Mars is over here too, and Mars is about your ambition and your motivation. So check where your personal Mars is to show where your ambition and your motivation is, and then check your personal Mars aspect to this Mars and Gemini. You can do like the mathematics with the degrees, and say, okay, is this many degrees due to mathematics with the numbers to tell the story? Or you could be like, oh, is this aspect, maybe it's conjunct, maybe it's an opposition, maybe it's square, maybe it's whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's up to you. But all in all, progressive pushes is coming up to your motivations to close something. Some things coming to a close of how you've been using your energy, how you've been contributing to your community contributing to you. For some of y'all, it's going to come from y'all moving to the next town over, to a new neighborhood. Kudos to you. Some of you guys taking on new opportunities. Gemini energy, they were like the twins that would like go around town and be battling people. You know what I'm saying? They were with the shits. And so for some of y'all, it's about learning how to be with the shits. It's learning about how to go around town and saying, I'm willing to put myself out there. I want to put myself out there. Community, opportunities, like battling, going forth with things. I want to put myself out there. And if you're not putting yourself out there, you're going to miss out on a lot of things. You're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities and places that you could be at by the time we get to the full moon. When we get to the full moon, we'll have Uranus and Mars still over there. However, there'll be a further degree. So Mars goes from 10 degrees to 21 degrees. Mars will be moving through the fixed energy throughout this time, and then getting into the mutable as we prepare for Mars to go in Cancer. Mars don't really like it in Cancer. Mars gets debilitated in Cancer, so y'all better use all of this Gemini energy while you can, because once Mars gets locked in use the Mars and Gemini energy while you can, because when Mars gets locked in Cancer, Cancer is more like going inward, being intuitive, being locked in, you know what I'm saying? So you're going to lock yourself in by the time we get to that next new moon. Next new moon, Mars is going to be at 0 degrees Cancer. So we're going to be starting the next lunar cycle with our solar plexus chakra. This is the space we're going to nurture. So if you let any opportunities, whatever, you're not communicating, you still walk around with the closed throat chakra and stuff like that, you're not motivated, you don't have no ambition, you're not feeling triggered, whatever. Angry is a sign of misalignment too. So be mindful of that, because Mars is fire, Gemini is air. So you're going to feel that anger. You can also feel like a sense of restlessness if you're overactive, anger if you're not doing the right thing, because we know what does air do to fire? It makes the fire bigger. Anxiety, pay attention to your gut. Take care of your gut right now. Because, like I said, when Mars goes into Cancer, whatever it is you do, whatever decisions you made, you're gonna be locked in them. That's what you're gonna be doing for the next, at least half, if not the whole next lunar cycle with Mars in Cancer. Uranus will still be in Gemini. It's not really moving too many degrees because Uranus don't really be in motion like that. Not in motion, but it's not that fast. It's not as fast as the personal planets for those of you guys who are new to astrology. And then we get into fixed air. Fixed air is Aquarius energy. So with fixed air, of course, we have Pluto over there. We actually have Pluto over there for like the next 17 years as far as the tropical zodiac goes, and then an additional like 10, 12 years as far as the constellations go. You guys have been beaten in the head with Pluto and Aquarius providing transformations, revealing secrets about revolutionary energy, the rise and fall of empires. See, Pluto's about revealing truths, revelations. Hey Marcus, how you doing? Pluto is about revelations. So they're telling the truth about different levels of society because Aquarius rules over society. You know what I'm saying? What were the different empires that we experienced? Well, now we learn the truth. And so it's funny because you have a lot of these robot accounts and stuff like that online kind of trying to disprove truth. You know what I'm saying? I always pay attention. Like if somebody, I do a lot of research. I read a lot of books, you know what I'm saying? And so, when I see people come online and they kind of insulting the creator of whatever content that's trying to provide information, I be looking on the page sometimes, and it's almost always somebody that don't post nothing, got, like 500 followers, ain't following nobody. Like, it's a fake account, you know what I'm saying? All that to say is usually a fake account. So Aquarius also rules over social media, you know what I'm saying? So while there are individuals, especially my Pluto and Scorpio babies, our generation, we ain't here for the bullshit. We are here to reveal and provide, extreme transformations to society and what's going on. So while Pluto is in Aquarius, this equal opposite energy is coming. So there's a lot of, robot accounts, bot accounts, people getting paid off to create certain content to disapprove the revelations that individuals are having and providing on these ones and zeros, right? So being mindful of that, but all in all, it's all revolutionary. Big changes are happening, and this is just the beginning. This is like our first year of Pluto being Aquarius. This is just the beginning, y'all. we didn't even do nothing yet. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of us getting more confidence and courageous because Pluto deals with our solar plexus chakra and our ability to build and destroy. We're talking about 8, the 8th house. 8 in supreme mathematics is build and destroy. 8 in the Sephiro or the Netter is Ha. This is Sebek. So this is where we come into how we compartmentalize our intellect, how we're labeling things in our space. And at this point, it's time to be revolutionary with it. Like, we're doing things different, okay? We're expanding on the different things. I didn't even get to Ophiuchus yet. We're expanding on the different things. So being aware of that, by the time we get to the full moon is usually is almost always the moon in opposition of the sun. It's always that's what the full moon is. So we'll have the moon in conjunct with Pluto. In fact, they'll be 1 degree apart at the full moon. The moon will be at 3 degrees. 3 degrees Aquarius on its way to being 6 degrees in total opposition of the sun. And we'll get into it in a moment, but in opposition, actually, the sun and Jupiter will both be at 6 degrees Leo on the opposite end. So that's going to be pretty interesting by the time we get to the full moon. Anyway, by the time we get to the full moon, the moon is going to be over there in Aquarius. Now it's intuition, it's nurturing, our safe space is our home and family. Aquarius is going to be over there in the 5th house. So this is actually interesting because this is around the time like school starts. You know what I'm saying? So like if you're down south, school usually starts around the beginning of August. So this is kind of like setting that tone because the 5th house deals with children. 5th house also deals with fatherly energy, but my spirit is like, we focus on the kids right now. So Transformations happen in society in regards to the kids, and for some of you guys in certain places, a lot of things are changing in the board of education. A lot of things, like right now I'm in the state of Tennessee. There's back and forth about the state taking over Tennessee and holding things off, but there's also changing the way a lot of things are being done, how teachers are being hired, the classroom structure, etc., etc. So being aware of that, a lot of transformations are happening there. A lot of parents are opting to remove their children from the education system to go to co-ops or homeschool or do the public school education from home instead of in the classroom. But just know that there will be transformations happening there. Hopefully they'll be nurturing. Hopefully people will be using like their intuition and their emotional, selves here. Whereas like I feel my intuition is saying this, my intuition is saying that, and use that to empower yourself. We've been taught to not utilize our feelings, but our feelings are like our sixth sense. They're like our antennas to let us know what to do and when to do it. So if your antennas is telling you, I need to do this for the children, I need to do after school program or before school program or some type of something, because we're talking about Aquarius is a socializing. It's how we socialize. It doesn't necessarily have to be in person, because Aquarius also rules over what society has now with social media, but it's still like levels of socializing here. All right, so do it. Anyway, by the time we get to the new moon, we'll have Pluto again there by her lonesome, poor Oya. But now we're focusing on the third house. So now we're in community communication. We're in that house of Gemini, which is siblings and things of that nature. Still coming on that energy of like school is starting, transformations are happening, and how the town is conducted. Those times where y'all was able to like drive on the road and not be stuck behind a bus is changing. People's schedules are changing as they, I guess, move around school schedules, teachers going back to work, which I'm sure a lot of people are very happy about. I've been in a few different Ubers and Lyfts, and they're like, "Bro, we can't stand it." And when school's out and these teachers ain't got no jobs because they taking all the gig jobs and they just taking anything, so it's allowing the apps to like underpay, a lot of the drivers and stuff like that. But you'll see a lot of transformations happening in the community on that end with society, which that's where we're at. So all in all, with my air babies, I will say this. I will say it is time to utilize your intuition. It is time to create safe space. You guys are going to be called on to make safe spaces and take on opportunities. It's opportunity time. All right. You're not going to get what you want by sitting still. And I ain't trying to rush y'all or nothing, but y'all kind of got into, the next new moon energy on, what is that, August 12th or 13th, August 13th, to, really tap in before you get locked into that Mars and Cancer. Once Mars moves out of Gemini, it's more so like you guys going through the transformational experiences, because you figure you got Pluto and Aquarius providing transformations there in society. You got Uranus and Gemini providing transformations in the community. And then you have Venus and Libra showing you what you value and you prioritize in your interpersonal relationships and bonds and contracts. So at that point in time, it's going to be kind of like you going through the experiences of the choices you chose to make by the time we get to the full moon. So I hope, y'all cool with it. Get to it. Otherwise, y'all gonna be walking around like, I don't know why this is happening to me. Why are these things happening to me? And it's like, it's not necessarily like happening to you, but you didn't make the moves you were supposed to make. So when you're not moving in your own authority, guess what? The energy around you is going to keep moving, because there's stuff that needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? You're missing the bus. So here's my cards for you guys. We're focusing on Venus. Remember what you value and prioritize, what makes you feel good. We're also in our space of between love and business here, and the moon, nurturing these things. So that's most likely the basis of a lot of the decisions and the opportunities y'all walking into is y'all different relationships, of course, because air deals with different levels of relationship. But what are you valuing and prioritizing? And we got the rose here. 1, 2, knowledge and wisdom, which brings what? Understanding. Then we got the 3 of Swords. I told y'all already, some of y'all over here just planting a bunch of seeds everywhere. Like, you're creating realities that don't really exist, and you messing with people's minds. You're not being totally honest. So for those of you guys that are not moving in honesty, I promise by the time you get to the full moon, that's going to all come back to you. You're going to start to attract those relationships in response. Queen of Pentacles, also getting out of your head and moving into the opportunities because they're there for you. And by the time we get to the next new moon, you're really going to reap these things, especially because once we get to the next new moon, we're moving our way into, harvest energy. We're making our way to the harvest moon. So you definitely want to, because it's going to lead us to the Four of Pentacles. It's going to lead you to some sense of stability. Like I said, once we get to the next new moon, it's lock-in time. Wherever you at, you're going to be locked in, dissipating. But this is not what we want to do with our solar plexus chakra, y'all. Utilize this Mars and Gemini. Don't overuse it, because overusing it is like what I was saying before. When you plant all these seeds, you're telling everybody you can show up, you're telling everybody you can do this, that, and the third, but you don't have the resources, you don't have the capacity, you don't have whatever. Don't do that. But at the same breath, just take your time. Like, what do I value? What do I prioritize? What makes me feel good? What do I love? What do I truly want? Have that conversation with yourself today in the new moon energy. What do I truly want to do? How do I truly want to spend my energy? And that's the alignment with the moon being over there in the Gemini constellation. Like, I know it's in Cancer zodiac. That's where we're getting the nurturing energy and all that stuff like that. However, like I said, on the Vedic chart, it's still in Gemini constellation. So you can talk about the opportunities. You can communicate with yourself about these different things. And like I was telling you about it before, authoritative. If you don't take the initiative, if you don't take them chances, if you don't take them risks, if you don't trust yourself to do the things, guess what? It's the life must go on. Uranus, Pluto, they will do it for you. They're going to do it for you. So you either can make the choices yourself now while, it's still in your solar plexus chakra to do so, and, we're collectively moving around, or it'll be done for you. And so that's my reading for air. So now we're going to move on to water, because once we think things, now it's time to start feeling them. So now we're going to get into our feelings. We'll start with our cardinal water, our initiator of feelings, and it's a party all the way up in Cancer energy, which is our cardinal water. Not only that, Cancer is over there in the first house. In the first house. So it's like where you're at in your spirituality, in your intuition, your relationship with your third eye, all of that is on the outside of you right now. People can feel it, people can smell it. You've probably been having so many different interactions and things that were in alignment with your emotions, where your intuition is at, where you think, I don't want to use the word think. I want to use intuition, but I want y'all to know that it's equivalent to like what y'all might think is thoughts. Okay? So it's a whole party over there, though. We got the sun over there having a great time, giving us the emotional experiences. We got the moon over there. Like, we're here to nurture these emotional experiences. We want in our intuition. This is a great time to take a bath, do some water things, give your ancestors some water on your altar, change the water on different things. It's just all about the water. Like, out here it started raining. We had some rain clouds. Expect that, Not only that, the moon is also at perigee, which means that it's the closest to the Earth during its current orbit. So not only do we have a new moon, we have a super new moon right now. And that's pretty fun. So you guys should definitely feel that electromagnetic pull on it's time to do something new. It's time to, emotionally release some things, let some things go. It doesn't serve anything here anymore. All that different stuff. Then we have Mercury here dealing with our decision making. Like I was saying, before, for the air, it's time to make decisions, in their own way. For y'all, it is too. Get into your intuition. Make these decisions. Put it out into the cosmos. You got it. The fortune is also here. So when we move into that space, fortune is like, I got you. So, to my water babies, it seemed like y'all on the same exact time. It's just air. Y'all was doing a little too much effort. But no, water, y'all on the same exact time. Wherever water is at on your chart, this applies to you, And then also get into your aspects of all these planets in aspect to wherever it may be on your chart, right? So once we get to the full moon, we'll just have Mercury over here. Finally going prograde, because Mercury is in retrograde right now. It goes prograde later on this month. I want to say the 23rd. I don't know off the top of my head, but off the top of my head, I'm saying the 23rd. Hey, King Prince, how you doing, love? So Mercury is all about decision making. You know, your intellect, your daily routine, your habits, how you are of service, and right now that's all in your emotions, your intuition, how you feel about being of service. You know, how do you feel about equality? Are you feeling like everything you pour into what you're doing for others, you're getting back? And I'm talking about family, friends, co-workers, your children, your partners, yourself. All the stuff you keep telling yourself to do, you got to get done. Are you pouring back into yourself after you get done receiving all these things? You know, are you serving yourself as well? Your job, are they giving back to you? You know, to the same level that you're giving to the job? Maybe some of y'all need to look up how much money you've been making that job. Maybe you didn't realize how many coins you bring in. It's time to have that conversation of equality, you know, and also harvesting things here too. So that's in the 10th house. So once we start making the decisions there and getting into that there, you know, success is underway. And that's that's you starting to get back what it is that you've been putting in. Because that's what the 10th house is about. The MC line is there. So it's a balance of I'm getting back what I put in. I'm putting my knowledge to my cipher. Then by the time we get to the next new moon, we have Mars entering at 0 degrees. That's when we start locking in with taking action, you know. And like I said, Cancer is not as like flexible and malleable as Gemini is. It is cardinal energy. It is, you know, sense of leadership, but it's also a crab, and crab is in a shell, a hard shell, you know, and it's more so about going inward and doing the intuitive things. So once you start making decisions and your solar plexus chakra goes in there, now we're starting to take action here. Now we're starting to, you know, come into like a routine of a sorts, like the abracadabra response. And then now we get into like mutable water. So what's next? Pisces. We start this new moon off with our space of sensitivities. We got the North Node here, right at a 1st degree. That's in the 9th house, so our philosophies. This is heavy on like the nervous system. Being, you know, take care of your nervous system, y'all. The vertex is also here, so what you will actually no, I lied. The vertex is at 0 degrees Aries, so we way past that. But with the North Node over here, the North Node is dealing with the direction that we're going towards collectively on a spiritual level, our spiritual tribe. And like I said, Pisces deals with our nervous system. Pisces also deals with, it's like associated with Neptune, Mayat, when we get into, you know, the netter. As far as the Sephiroth goes, it's more so Chesed, which is our divine grace, the grace that we give others, you know, our expansion in that realm of things. And that's all in alignment with whatever your divine blueprint is. So when I say divine blueprint, I mean like, what are your 10 commandments? You know, what are those laws and rules you've made for yourself? Do you have any? Do you have any self-disciplines for yourself of what you will do and what you will not do when it comes to your pleasure sensors? You know, that's what we're working on together as a collective. And it's in the 9th house. 9th house deals with foreign interactions. Like we just had the whole World Cup situation, and it really opened up our eyes, you know, because Pisces' water is deep water. So we're getting into hidden agendas, hidden secrets, Akashic records here. We know water holds memory, like, and we're talking about the dark waters. We're talking about Olukun, the bottom of the ocean. Only God knows what's at the bottom of the ocean. You know what I'm saying? In my humble opinion, is aliens in outer space, but you know, that's a different life, okay? But you know, we know that water holds memory and water preserves things. Ships, people, all that stuff goes to the bottom of the ocean and they start aging really slowly and all that stuff like that, right? So keeping all of that in mind. This is, you know, now we're tapping into the Akashic records of our thoughts, our philanthropy, our interactions with foreign affairs, and all that. A lot of that was coming up with the World Cup, like how, you know, athletes have been treated, people being, you know, unalive, mistreated, you know, things like the World Cup and the Olympics bring forth conversations about international, relations, like how dare us still host the circus, knowing daggone well this is going on here and that's going on there. Keeping those kind of conversations open too is a big deal, and hopefully it's bringing a lot of those things to close as we start to deal with those things that are hidden, right? And things that we've been believing in when it comes to like foreign interactions. Like one of the first things that come to my mind is there was like, how they're doing that trend with the Netflix documentary thing, where there's one where this lady sits down and she's apparently African, and she's like, this is my Netflix documentary when I realized that black people weren't exaggerating about their experience. And it's just kind of like disrespectful, because we never thought y'all were exaggerating about y'all experience. So why would y'all think that about us? But it also like makes a lot of sense as to why a lot of people come over here and they have this mindset that they have, that we're just not trying, and I can do this, I can do that. Why aren't y'all doing that? It's like, because y'all get certain, perks to being here, what I'm saying, that we don't get while we're here. Different discussions like that. But a lot of that is Pisces being in the ninth house and having those conversations of what's been hidden beneath the surface when it comes to international relations. Now, when we get into the full moon, we're in this moon of celebration, and we're going from building things up to breaking things down. So we done built up our philosophies on international relations. We done built up on what's in the Akashic records and all the fun stuff like that, our sensitivities, our nervous system, and our inspirations, and even our spiritual direction, because Pisces deals with belief in our spiritual direction, right? Our humanitarian self, our optimistic self, all that fun stuff. So once we get to the full moon, hold on, because I can't see without my glasses, but my eyes start itching. we still have the North Node there, but now we have the Fortune there too. So now for those of you guys who have been moving in that philanthropy, the philosophy, and all those things like that, you'll start to be reaping those things. But for those of you guys that want to stay in war, y'all want to stay in that overactive fire energy, you want to stay in the fight, guess what? You're going to reap that. So it's whatever you want to have, for real. Your reality. And I don't got to go through the stars to tell y'all this shit. It's like, it's whatever you want to make it, for real, for real. But it all goes towards the sixth house. So by the time we get to the full moon, now we're dealing with our daily routine, our more integral code. So from air to water, it seems like by the time we get to the full moon, we're gonna start being locked into some type of routine. Wherever you're. So far, we done went over air. Now we're going over water. So you're gonna be locked into some type of routine piece. How you doing? Thank you for the likes. Of what it is that you want to do, because that's what the sixth house is. Virgo, manifesting, harvesting, bringing things into the physical. Virgo and Pisces, they're sisters. While Pisces dreams, Virgo thinks. While Pisces goes inward, Virgo goes inward, but more on a physical level, because we like the harvest, we like the things, this earth. So you have that happening there. And then by the time we get to the next new moon, we will have we'll still have the North Node happening there to be at 0 degrees, but now we have the fourth house. The fourth house is our sense of belonging. So now you start to find like your emotional connections here, your intuition here, things of that nature, in response to you finding, your routine, getting to some rituals. By the time we get to the full moon, I would definitely do have a type of ritual together, especially because like Lionsgate is a few days before the moon too, so that's another thing. Then we get into fixed water, right? Scorpio. So we start off this new moon, there's no celestial bodies in Scorpio, so we're starting it clean, and we have a little bit of the fourth house of home and family, like the last 5 degrees. And then we have Leo. So Leo more so is being ruled by Scorpius energy, right? So that's that inner child energy. Transformations happening here, empowering transformations happening to the inner child, the inner creative, the inner romantic. So again, this moon that we're utilizing right here, right now. And I'll get into it in a moment because we do have a triangle in the sky too. And, I'll get into the shapes in a moment. But this moon is really about us, changing direction of what we've been doing. What do we want to do? Where are we going with this? What's happening? You know, some of you guys are having revelations happen to y'all, you know, whether it's conversations with somebody else or just like sitting by yourself and you're thinking about your childhood and stuff like that. And you're like, wait a minute, that did happen, or this did happen, or, you know, why that happened, or what's going on over here. So being aware of that is, you know, that'll bring you to the full moon. And once we get to the full moon, what do we have in Scorpio? We have the second house here. So now we locked in with our materials, what we value and prioritize. And now transformations is happening there. And they're very, like, listen, Scorpio is dramatic. Scorpio is dramatic. Scorpio is jealous. Scorpio holds grudges. This is fixed water. You know, water holds memory. There's nothing stronger than that H2O bond. You know, so being mindful, like whatever it is in that fifth house of Scorpio, you might want to build and destroy on that. Let your inner child take the wheel, empower that inner child, things like that, because once Scorpio was in the second house, it could make transformations accordingly to, you know, the balance between how you feel and what you have. So for some of you guys that don't take the time out to heal those grudges and jealousies and things like that, and your younger selves, that though it'll start pouring into you, into what you have. You can't hold on to certain things having them certain kind of calluses in your water. Remember, you know, your body is water. Your body got fixed water. You know, when I'm talking about this astrology signs, I ain't talking about nothing outside. I'm talking about what's inside of you. Scorpio deals with your solar plexus chakra. You know, the second house deals with your heart. That's Venus. So you allow certain things to be fixed in that heart if you want to. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well for you at all. Two also deals with Chokma energy. This is, you know, our expansion, our abundance, our wisdom from Tahuti. So if we're fixed on grudges and stuff like that, it makes it difficult for us to be open to receiving wisdom from the oracle, because it's like, I know everything. I got it. You know, there's no room for anything to come in. So be mindful of that by the time we get to the full moon. And you're going to feel it because you're going to see it in the stuff that you got going on. You know what I'm saying? Why is my car broke down? Why I ain't got this? Why I ain't got that? I'll tell you why. Because you ain't do nothing with the inner child. You didn't walk into certain rooms you were supposed to walk into because that inner child was nervous or didn't like public speaking, or they didn't feel good about themselves, they wasn't confident, or maybe that inner child was too confident, maybe they were too aggressive or assertive or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So now you ain't tone it down. So now by the time we get to the full moon, you know, you're starting to see that in your stuff and what you value and prioritize. And then by the time we get to the next new moon, Scorpio is going to be in 12th house. So now we're ending things, and we're actually going to have the fortune there at 29 degrees at a degree of difficulty in Scorpio. So that's really going to be y'all last chance. Like, all right, did you learn in this lunar cycle how you need to just let certain shit go? Do you see now the stuff you've been holding on to? No. All right, go ahead, let Scorpio enter that first house. It is all in your aura and it's all in your energy. Guess what? Once something goes in your first house, that's when all the moths, the bumblebees, the butterflies, the mosquitoes, everything start coming in. Wherever energy you putting out, that's what's going to come in, right? And it's all there to empower you, because that's what Pluto wants. Pluto wants you empowered. Pluto doesn't want you defeated and things like that. But if you're taking Pluto the wrong way, same way if you're taking Capricorn the wrong way, if you're taking Pluto the wrong way, you're going to get your ass beat. It's going to be dramatic. It's going to be, why are these transformations happening to me like this, that, and the third? And I promise I'm not speaking from a soapbox, a podium, a pulpit, nothing. I'm sitting at a round table with y'all, because I swear to you, while I'm talking, I'm just downloading. And I'm talking to myself. In fact, when I get off of this, I'm probably gonna listen to this shit like, oh, let me do some journaling, because there are some things in my inner child that need to be fixed. There are some things that I need to speak to in my inner child. So I promise, when I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking to myself. Don't ever think that this is coming from like my nose in the air and pinkies up, because it's not. All right. I'm just grateful that, you know, when I'm getting used, it resonates to some of y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. Like, it's a blessing. But anyway. See, that's my fifth house speaking. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, by the time we get to the next new moon, it's like, yeah, this is the opening to let some things go. This is the opening. before Scorpio goes into the first house and shows you, the hard way, some of the things that you still holding on to that you should have let go of in them fixed waters. So we done went through all the waters. Here's y'all reading to my water babies, and it's not just about your sun sign. Your sun sign is your experiences, so it can be, but it's wherever water is at in your chart. So here we're focusing on Ceres and Jupiter. Ceres deals with like, what will I burn the earth down for? You know what I'm saying? What am I like? Ceres is like a more specific version of Virgo, because Virgo is like the mother type harvest energy, but Ceres is like heavy on mommy daughter, and y'all know, not mommy daughter, yeah, mommy and daughter, but like mother child period, like that mother bear energy. And the most dangerous place to be at is between a mother and her child. Like that's the most dangerous, because that's I'll scratch your eyes out. You know what I'm saying? So what puts you in that energy? What puts you in that same energy as mother bear and baby bear? Like, I'll scratch your eyes out if you fuck with this. And that's something you need to write down. That's what really matters to me. That's what I'm, whatever. And is it something that's conducive to you? Or is it something that's, I keep acting like this about this person or this thing or this relationship or this job or this opportunity or this or that, and it's actually not giving me back that energy, right? Because Ceres is harvest, and Ceres is about what you put into the soil. You should be getting back in your fruit. So you might be scratching people's eyes out about this soil, but your fruit keep coming back rotten. So Jupiter says, we want to be optimistic. We want to expand here. We want to be in our joy here. We want to be, humanitarian, philanthropist. We want to be able to interact with other people, a different kind of energy here. Lemon balm. I love lemon balm. Lemon balm does open you up. It does put you in a joyous space. We got 5-2 here. So 5 is that Harold Kahuli energy, the celestial enforcer, enforcing your internal law. While 2 is like balance, harmony, and truth. So enforcing your truth here will bring you to 7, which in supreme mathematics is God. Okay, we're here to nurture. So that's what I got as far as the theme. And then like trusting the stars, trusting your spirit, trusting these things. We got the 3 of chalices, more emotional, nurturing, cultivation happening here. 3 being Gemini, of understanding, creation of opportunities happening for y'all, my water babies. Then once again, we have Jupiter again with the 4 of swords, balancing our intellect and our knowledge. Jupiter in Libra brings that balance, yeah, we got Jupiter again. Yeah, we like it here. Y'all like it here. The expansion and abundance in your truth. Once again, enforcing your truth, speaking your truth. Chesed is the Sephiroth that is highlighted here, which is Mayat. That's your discipline. That's your order. That's your law. Oh, and you guys also going on some sort of quest here to expand yourself. And for a little warning here, it's some women's treachery. It could be feminine energy. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a woman body, but like someone's, trying to go back and forth with you, trying to take something that belongs to you. We got 3 and 4 here, which is understanding of Chesed. So not everybody's going to understand those boundaries, that law, that order that you create for yourself. And so they're going to try to interact with your inner God, because 3 and 4 come together and make 7 just as much as 5 and 2 does. So when you start off with that 5 and 2 of enforcing your truth, it's not always what you say. Sometimes it's how you say it. And I know sometimes y'all get to the point where y'all look back at y'all relationships, the different things y'all got going on, and y'all like, damn, this not what I want. And why are these people doing this stuff in my space to begin with? But it's more so about self accountability than projecting on other people. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, people benefited from you not having boundaries. People benefited from you not speaking your truth. People benefited from being able to come into your space and talking to you any kind of way and doing whatever they wanted and whatever. So when you put up that boundary, you put up that law, you enforce it, of course they're going to be irritated. Of course they're going to be annoyed. Of course they're going to have something to say back or whatever. Like, okay. We're prepared for that because you already know, like, I'll scratch people's eyes out for you, but you ain't gonna do shit for me. You keep giving me rotten fruit, And like I said, this is something to decide before the full moon, because by the time we get to the full moon and stuff, you guys are gonna be locked into things. especially with that Scorpio energy going from your inner child to, your materials and your heart, and then moving into, giving you a last chance to let some shit go. Once you see what's happening to your materials and your emotional connectivity and levels of love, like, you're going to keep letting people destroy your shit. You're going to keep letting people come into your space and destroy your peace and your relationships and the shit that you prioritize and you value. You're going to keep doing that? You're going to keep acting like, oh, it's me, whoa, it's me. Why is these things happening to me? You don't want to be accountable. It's everybody else's fault. She did it first. He did it first. She hit me first. But why y'all ain't do that to her? Y'all did that to me. Don't worry about them. Worry about yourself. But why are you doing it? So we done went through the thoughts, and then we got into the emotions, and now we're going to take action in our fire. Y'all ready for the fire signs? You love it here. So we will start with the cardinal fire energy, of course, which is Aries, because y'all get things going. Y'all the motivator. Y'all rule over, the solar plexus chakra. This is the ambition, the motivation, the trigger that gets things going. When you are not aligned with your solar plexus chakra, you will have issues such as high blood pressure, anger, aggressive, assertive, even violent. If you are underactive, you're more so like a pushover, people playing in your face, you don't know how to stand up for yourself, you feel uncertain, you don't trust yourself, things like that. You're very hesitant to make moves. That's what Aries is all about, right? We start off with Aries being in the 10th house. Again, I'm telling y'all, it seemed like for all the elements, y'all all getting the same kind of energy. This is the new moon to say, hey, what am I doing? We're in the year of the fire horse. We supposed to be taking risks. If y'all still going with the flow of, oh, well, if I keep going to this job, it'll be okay. Eventually it'll work itself out. If I keep staying and pouring into this relationship, it'll be okay. It'll work out, things like that. Like, if you keep doing stuff like that and it hasn't already worked out, like, you still stressed out at that job, you're still stressed out in this relationship, you're still having role strain trying to be everything for everybody everywhere, like, all those things are still happening, and you're still in this moment of this new moon saying, oh, well, I'll just try harder, I'll just get another job, I'll just bend another boundary that I have, I'll just put on another hat, I'll just stop it. That's definitely not active Aries energy, okay? Stop it. Don't do that. So Aries has Saturn and Neptune here. Your subconscious been telling you, take initiative. You have it in your dreams. You know what your dream job is. You know what in your dreams, what you would rather be doing with your solar plexus chakra, what you are passionate about, what you really want to get going. Go do that shit. Saturn is literally right there. I'm here for you to do that shit. Not only are your dreams and your subconscious here, Saturn is like, use me. Y'all done demonized me so fucking much when y'all could use me. That's y'all problem. You demonize what you don't understand. And because you see certain religions or people utilizing Saturn, and they use Saturn for reasons that you think are evil, because the universe doesn't know good or bad. The universe just goes where it's called. So these people know how to use Saturn. That's why they go to Saturn. And you over there with your misunderstandings of, oh, Saturn is just discipline and restrictions and da-da-da. Saturn is infrastructure. Saturn is providing structure. Saturn provides the discipline and the order that's required for you to bring things into the physical. Saturn is about grounding, contract. So yeah, we love to be in dreams. We love to be in our third eye and la la land and frolicking through the flowers. In the same breath, that requires something. A tree is only as strong as its roots. And your roots have to go through something for your tree to be strong. Otherwise, soon as the wind blow or a storm come, you're out of here, buddy. Have you ever been around somebody who has never been through something? They don't know how to go through shit. They fall apart every time. They fold every time. Saturn is necessary. Saturn is important. Saturn is not here to be demonized. Saturn is here to help. Saturn is saying, hey, you don't have to just keep dreaming it all the time. We can put it into a understanding step by step guide on how you could bring it to the earth. I can help you. Let me help you. There's different challenges that are going to come, but those challenges aren't here to traumatize you and make you angry. Those challenges are here to strengthen you. That's like, first example that comes to my mind is some of y'all want to live in vans, some of y'all want to live in RVs. That's in your dreams, right? In my dreams, I'm living in a van, I'm living in an RV. That's my life. It's in my dreams. La 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 la. Saturn is like, okay, that's your dreams. Okay, here goes some challenges that you need to keep in consideration. I need you to write them out and have, you know, something ready. You know, what the kind of discipline do you need to live in a van? Well, you got to think about hygiene. You got to think about how you're accustomed to cooking versus how you're going to have to eat moving forward. You got to think about where you can park your van at. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about, you know, gas prices. How are we going to get the funds to stay? What if something happens to your van? Like you need repairs. Do you have extra funds somewhere to sleep at, stay at while your van is getting repaired? Sometimes repairs take a whole month depending on what kind of mechanic you go to, because some of these mechanics be dragging shit. Then you have a flat tire. You know how to change tires, you know how to change your own stuff. Where are you going to go to learn if you want to learn how to do it yourself instead of paying other people to do it? You know, these are different challenges that Saturn is going to give you ahead of time, because Saturn is next to Neptune. So it's like, I'm gonna give you these challenges in your dreams. I'm gonna give you these challenges ahead of time so that you're ready and you have the discipline, you have the order, you know how to face these things when they actually do happen, or if they happen again. But now y'all too busy like, oh, no, it's a punishment. It's not a punishment, baby. It's to give you muscles. Don't y'all be feeling like it's so inspirational to hear somebody's testimony of all the things they've been through, but they still showed the fuck up? That's Saturn. That's Saturn. Think about some of the stuff that you've been through and just think about your testimony. Isn't that inspiring to you? Don't you inspire yourself? Saturn is like, bro, y'all be giving me a badass rep. I'm sick of y'all. I'm sick of y'all. Don't keep doing me like that, okay? So, you know, once we type in today, it's going to bring us to the 10th house. You know, they want success for you. They want y'all to start this new moon energy, like a successful mindset with, you know, creating infrastructure to your dreams. All right. So then once we get into the full moon energy, now we're in this moon of celebration. This is a mid checkpoint. We done built ourselves up in waxing to get here. And so now what we have in Aries, we still have Neptune and Saturn in Aries. You know, they're still over there. Like, we're still here helping you. You know, we're still creating that structure. We're still creating all the things. And then we have the vertex here now. Now it gets fun. Now the full moon is going to show you experiences in response to how well you've been doing with that Neptune and Saturn together. Are you just in la la land dreaming and you're not bringing it into the physical? Or maybe some of you guys are kind of like stuck on punishing yourself all the time to the point where you're not a dreamer. You're not following your dreams. Some of y'all, you know, Saturn deals with your authority too, your understanding. Who's your authority? For some of y'all, is some people that died centuries ago. It's the government, it's your job, it's your parents, it's your grandparents, it's some ancestors, it's some conquistadors that wrote on a piece of paper in cursive a couple hundred years ago. It's, you know, some of y'all don't have yourselves and y'all authority. So you having dreams, and then in your waking life, you're utilizing Saturn to discipline you out of your dreams. Is that you? Is that you? Saturn and Neptune are not here to go back and forth. They're here to complement each other. So if you're using them to go back and forth, like, I can't do this, I can't do that, because these are my restrictions, these are my boundaries, this is order, these are my challenges, I guess I can't do that, I guess I can't. Man, don't do that, because by the time we get to the full moon, guess what? Vertex is going to be there, and they're going to show you a mirror to your experience. Hey, goddess, they're going to show a mirror to your experience. This is how well you've been doing with Saturn and Neptune. Do you like your earthly experience? Do you like what's going on over here? Are you having a great time? If you don't like it, and all of that is coming from the 7th house. So it's going to be in your interpersonal relationships, your bonds, the contracts y'all sign. Contracts could be a job, some of y'all starting your own businesses. a house, apartment, a car. That's all contracts. Weddings, birth certificates, social security numbers. If y'all, getting new ones or giving them back or whatever it is y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? It's all going to that seventh house. Being in your truth, being balanced here, all of that. Now, when we get to, by the time we get to the next new moon, now we're gonna have Saturn and Neptune still there. They don't move too much. They don't, they're not fast movers. They outside planets. But now you have the fifth house here. So now you're going to your inner creative energy. Fifth house is Leo energy. So that's the interaction with children, your inner child, yourself. Are your inner younger selves doing all right? Do they love it here? Are they having a hard time here? Do they feel ignored? Do you feel like you didn't give them the wheel? Your inner creative energy here is it stifled? Five also deals with paternal energy. How well is that masculine self doing? Your confidence and courageousness when we get into the Sephiroth. Are you feeling confident? Are you feeling courageous? Or did you allow, Saturn to beat you up instead of build you up? So I like that one. I like that for you guys, Aries. I like that for y'all, and I'm rooting for y'all. And I hope y'all really listen to y'all internal selves and do what you want to do. You guys are cardinal fire. Like wherever Aries is at in your space is cardinal fire. That means that nobody else out here can tell you what to do. Because whatever it is that you're trying to do, it has never been done before. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, I need y'all to fully grasp what New Earth is. I need y'all to fully grasp what Pluto and Aquarius is. We are here witnessing the fall of an empire. Y'all read about it so many times in textbooks. Those weren't fairy tales. Those empires fell and new empires were built. We're literally experiencing those things that we learned about in school. And it's like, now, how do you want to exist while that's happening? What kind of existence do you want to have while that's happening? Everybody has an Aries placement. Go check your house. Go check a celestial body. Go check an asteroid. Because it's in you. It's not around you. It could be both. But it's in you. If you got a gut, if you got a solar plexus, if you have blood pressure, you got Aries. Okay? It's in you. So take initiative. Some of you guys are looking for someone else to hold your hand and show you how to do it and how to be done it. Neptune is there. Neptune takes you to your ancestors that also experienced the rise and fall of empires. Look at them. How did they experience the rise and fall? How did they experience a Great Depression? What did they do? What did they build? How did they come together? How did they experience, race wars and gender wars and stuff like that? What did they do? What did they do different? That's all Neptune. Neptune is there to guide you. You gotta trust. You gotta go inward for this experience. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. Go inward though. Like y'all keep looking outside of yourselves, hoping somebody's gonna come with a master class, and they ain't doing nothing but being in their own Aries energy. Their Aries energy is teaching them. They go on a fucking YouTube university and learning how to do funnel classes and giving y'all half-ass information, and you're like, dang, I got so many more questions. Yeah, they're following their Aries. Their Aries is obviously half-ass, but they're getting what they want out of it. You didn't get what you want out of it because you keep going to other people for questions and answers, knowing damn well you already know what to do. So go do it. Then we have fixed fire. Fixed fire is Leo energy. We love it here. Gang, gang. Shouts to my Leo babies. Happy Leo season to y'all. Ain't nothing but lion energy up in my crib. I'm Leo rising. I see Goddess up in there. She a Leo rising. My son is a Leo rising. My other son is a Leo sun and moon. So, and shouts to everybody having a Jupiter and Leo return. And that's usually you guys that's born in like 1990. Y'all having y'all 1990. And when was my son born? My son was born in 2014. So 1990 and 2014, gang, gang, having our Jupiter and Leo return. So that's what we have here. We have Jupiter and Leo in the second house. Being optimistic, being joyous, realizing money is everywhere, resources are everywhere, abundance is everywhere, currency is everywhere. Just be creative. Be confident, be courageous, because Leo energy rules over Tiferet. This is Heru. This is the fifth Sephiroth, the heart, the sacred heart symbol that y'all be seeing, and Jesus knocking at the door. That's Leo, you know. So Jupiter wants you to expand on that. Be more optimistic. Be more open minded. Money is everywhere. It's not just one thing. It's not just one kind of currency. It's not just one kind of way to do things with Jupiter and Leo. Now you get to be in that creative. So, and also learn how to romanticize your life. You're not romanticizing your life enough. You're not. Ooh, cars just being thrown at me. I'll let these two cars rock. But that's what Leo wants you to do. That's what Jupiter is here to do, and it's all happening in that second house. So what I have and how I feel, that heart chakra, and your moral code on how you obtain it and maintain it, and make sure that heart is light as a feather when you do it, because the energy you get back, it's gonna be what it is. And then once we get to the full moon, Jupiter is gonna be in 11th house, and we have the Sun and Jupiter there. So now the Sun is going. That full moon is gonna be fucking dope. You guys, everybody's going to get a mirror to how well they've been. Like, my brain said magician card. The mirrors are going to show y'all magician cards when we get to that full moon. How well have you guys been using that magician card? Because the Sun is giving us the experiences, and it's going to be in 11th house. So it's in our friendships, it's in our interaction with society, it's in being revolutionary, and Jupiter is right there. Like I told y'all before, they're both at 6 degrees in Leo. 6 deals with energy exchange, okay? Equality. What I put in is what I get out, right? We're still in that cardinal degree. Hey, Reef. So the Sun, your experiences is going to be showing y'all a mirror. How optimistic have y'all been? How expanded have y'all been? Are y'all interacting with other people? I will say an overactivity here would definitely be impatience. Impatience, immaturity, because Leo can be very immature, very stubborn because it's fixed fire. Be open to other people coming in and bringing you wisdom too. Thank you. So you want to be aware of that. And like I said, it's going to be coming through the state of society and friendships. Then by the time we get to the new moon, now we got a party in Leo, y'all. We're going to have the Sun there. We're going to have the moon there. We're going to have Jupiter there. We have Mercury there too, helping us with our decision making. And this is all happening in the 9th house of expansion, abundance, philosophies, our chesed energy. Our internal law and order. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter actually rules the 2nd and the 4th Sephiroth. So 2 of Chokmah, intuition, Tahuti energy, and 4 of Mayat and traditional. I know when we get to modern, it's Neptune. I get it. Okay. So, but for the sake of conversation, Jupiter is ruling all of that, okay? How well are you tapped into your pleasure-seeking energy? And again, like I said, it's time for you to start romanticizing your experience. Are you having a good time? Are you being creative? Are you being in love with yourself? Are you being in love with your life? Are you being optimistic? Are you allowing yourself to be delusional? Be delusional. Have fun. Like, this world is so magical. And if we don't use the magic, we're not using the magic. Us using the magic doesn't take away from other people. Like, the magic is infinite, infinitely abundant. Don't be, a lot of people like to discipline and punish themselves because they feel like that's going to heal the world, and it's not. You're just going to be another disciplined, punished person. Like, not using the energy right. Thank you, Goddess. I appreciate you. So, stay in awareness of that. However, this Leo energy looks very fun. I love it here. Pay attention to the friendships that you guys develop, because they're definitely going to come from you guys, being in your creative stuff. Now, when you get it, if you in a circle full of negative Nancy's and y'all over there trauma bonding, and y'all don't like y'all kids, and y'all don't like this, and you don't like that, and you're not being creative, you stifling that Jupiter in Leo. You're stifling it, buddy. And what happens is Jupiter rules over your nervous system. Your central nervous system. So you'll have headaches, definitely in the back of the head, because Sagittarius rules over, Sagittarius is the constellation of the archer. And so that star in the back of the head, when you be having headaches back here, yeah, that's that nervous system letting you know, like, I'm not activated to my fullest potential. I'm not, it's not a good look, y'all. Y'all be careful with it. Take some chances, take some risks. It's the year of the fire horse. It's time for y'all to take some risks, take some chances, and trust the process without being impatient. And so now we have I did Sagittarius, right? That's my last fire. So now we're going to do the mutable fire. I'm just having all my returns. I'm making this about me a little bit. But this is my Lilith return too. We start off with Lilith. Lilith is the primordial goddess. Lilith is, ooh, what was that? Thank you. Lilith is the rebellious one. She's Xena, the warrior princess. I'm not here to do anything y'all chatting about and doing about. I want to do what I want to do. Okay? Is this the new moon, John? Yes. And it's okay because I'm on YouTube too, so it's recording. Yeah, so love, she on her own type time. I'm the queen. I'm the empress. I do what I want to do. You can't come over here and start telling me what to do. Watch your mouth. I'm here to go against the grain, and she's going against the grain in the sixth house. So sixth house deals with intellect. It deals with harvest. It deals with what our ideas of equality has always been. Our educational upbringing has always been. Our routines, our habits. Lilith wants you to swipe all that shit off the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the shit you've been doing, all the shit you've been brought up doing, like, bro, if this not you, if this not what you said you wanted, if your inner darkness, see, Lilith is the dark side of the moon. Lilith is when the moon is the furthest point from the sun. So it's, real dark here. And right now, that dark side, the moon deals with your emotions, your intuition, your nurturing self. And when we get to the dark side, it's not that we become less nurturing or less emotional or less of a safe space. It's more so we go from being like a Eve, like a to more like a like, whose ass I gotta be in a nurturing way. It's still nurturing. So, that's what Lilith is here. Lilith is, operating from a Sagittarius standpoint. So it's dealing with your pleasure seekers. It's dealing with your nervous system, your philosophy and stuff like that. And, some of y'all have been ignoring to y'all, speaking to myself, because Sagittarius also deals with traveling, and that goes back to the example I gave about living in a van, living in an RV. A lot of you guys are tapped into that lifestyle because of what Sagittarius is doing. Also because of where Jupiter is at in Leo. It's time to be creative, and Jupiter deals with that traveling. Some of y'all moving out of the country. Some of y'all moving like on paper. I want to get off this ship and go in, become a sovereign being or join somebody else's ship. Y'all don't realize when y'all go from one paperwork to another paperwork, y'all just moving on to somebody else's ship. And that there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that in a way that's nothing wrong. If you find a ship that you resonate with, cool. But a lot of these leaders ain't going to tell you that. They just like, oh, just let us do your paperwork. You're basically signing to be on somebody else's ship. Okay? But yeah, that's all that is there. And like I said, for some of y'all, it's about switching up y'all routine. So when we move into to the full moon, now we done build ourselves up to the full moon. Now Sagittarius is in the third house. So now community, opportunities. He think fear is a fucking fun. Hey, it can be. Some people love it there. Not our interpersonal relationships. This is Gemini, so it's like siblings and cousins and people in your neighborhood, people you grew up with and stuff like that, the Tri-City area. So now Lilith is coming to your community. So I went to you, your rituals, your personal relationships, your decision making, how you choose to be of service, all those things. We ripping all of that shit up. Now, after I got done doing the work on you, now the community that you're around. Now it's time to rip all that shit up with other people. You know what I'm saying? Now it's really time to show the world who you are, how you are. The mask has to come off, says love. You can't just keep coming around people acting like you this way and you that way. And that ain't really what you are. That's not what you want. You hate that job. You can't stand them people. You hate going to these family reunions. You can't stand that person you sleeping next to every night. You don't want to be you don't want to be a full time parent by yourself. You don't want to do these things over here. You keep forcing yourself to do that because like we start this new moon. It's I want to be a servitude. I want to do this. I want to do that. You give and give and give, and you become the martyr. Okay, you've been trained into this routine. You've been mentally manipulated into the routine, and Lilith is like rip it up. And once we rip it up, yeah, your community is gonna get ripped up too, because a lot of people benefited from you playing in your own face. And then by the time we get to the next new moon, we have this is we still have Lilith here, but now we're in the first house. Ooh, we in the first house with it? Ah. So y'all play with it if y'all want to. Y'all play with that energy if you want to. Now your aura is open. Now your aura is open. And energy is going to come in to test the waters. Are you yourself? That means that it's gonna be people, places, things, situations that's gonna try to come and bring you back into that original sixth house energy, that routine you had before, them imbalanced scales you had before. Because Virgo gave some of the stars to Libra. So some parts of Libra is Virgo. Them Libra scales, and that's why Virgo can go into being a martyr, trying to overserve and overgive as they overthink, overanalyze. So yeah, that's interesting. By the time you get to August 13th, that's gonna be real interesting. I'm telling you, like mirrors is coming back, y'all. So this is what I got from my fire sign. You guys are gonna focus on your Jupiter too. So you guys are also focusing on Jupiter. You're focusing on Jupiter and Pluto. So transformations to your Jupiter, your choke mind, your chesed, your wisdom, your expansion, your philosophy, philanthropy, your humanitarian side, what you find joy in, what you find pleasure in. All of that needs to be transformed. All of that needs to be revealed. Some of y'all got weird shit about y'all that y'all like and y'all don't like, and it's that and the third, and that's coming out too. Pluto and Jupiter both deal with sexual self. You know what I'm saying? So you can expect some of the weird sex stuff coming out a little bit more too. And some of y'all some weird sex people too. And I ain't gotta be on a criminal way, but like some of y'all not being in y'all truth. Lilith deals with sexual, sensual energy as well. Some of y'all got these cravings and these earnings and these things about yourself, and you guys aren't fully embodying it, and you don't even realize that some of that stuff is empowering for y'all. It's your destiny. We have the Seven of Wands, and as you can see, my mouth is bonded. This is Lilith energy. I'll still fight your ass, but I'm not being honest. I'm closing up my mouth. I'm not embodying my truth. And it's like, oh well, why are you so angry? Why are you so upset? Oh, that's Lilith and Sagittarius. That's straight up Lilith and Sagittarius. I'm suppressing this part of myself. So when I see other people embody that sensual, joyous part of themselves, or that expanded part of themselves, or being philanthropic, or traveling to other countries, having international relations and all that stuff, it makes me angry because I'm suppressing those parts I'm hiding. I'm not nurturing those parts of myself out loud, and I'm guarding that part about me. Don't guard that shit. Why are you guarding yourself, like how you ignore yourself? Why would you want to guard that? An example I give is you see people embracing like their sexuality, their sensuality, and your immediate response is, let me throw some verbal stones at them and call them names, or spit out some Bible verses, or they say this or say that. And it's like, you ain't gotta say that stuff to me. Like, why don't you embody your sexual, sensual self that way? When you see me doing my thing, it doesn't bother you so much. And I'm not saying everybody gotta like tell the whole world their business. That's not what it's about. That's not the flavor it is for everybody. But if you're like completely suppressing yourself about it, yeah, you angry, you guarding it. Oh yeah, this is where the cards fell out on me. It's all in your head. It's because you're judging yourself. You're doing, yeah, the hypercriticism. You doing too much. You hiding yourself, and you're not trusting. The world brought you here this way for a reason. You're supposed to be you. You're supposed to be in this world like this as you for a reason. You're not allowing yourself to do it. We got the 21 here. That's 3. That's understanding. Once again, like, who is your authority? That's Saturn over there in Aries, right? Then we talk about that. Some of y'all got some people in y'all authority that do not belong there, should not have never been there, but that's what you're doing. All right. Then you have the moon, Pisces energy here. We're connecting our, what is that, Hod? No, that's Netok. That's Netok, our inner designer, with Jeb, our earthly self. So we're taking our inner designer. We are in the month of 7. So y'all been hearing me talk about this every day during the daily mathematics. 7 is about we design what we desire, and we're bringing it into our earthly realm, and that's how we're doing it. And do it through the moon. Okay, so for my fire babies, y'all pay attention to where the moon is at, where the moon is nurturing. Y'all know by that time we get to the next new moon, we'll be in Leo energy. When we get to the full moon, the moon will be in opposition of Leo energy. So you have all of that going on. So follow the moon with how you guys go about nurturing y'all internal selves. Oh, I said this too. I was like, be careful with your impatience. That's overactivity. Y'all know that's overactivity with any fire sign, whether you Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. We don't want to be impatient. We don't want to rush the process. Definitely don't want to rush yourself. And the same part, do the work. You know, progress is what's supposed to happen. It's not a race. It's just progress. And also being practical. Being practical brings you to 4 and 7. That's your chesed. That's your internal law. 7, you're designing with it. And where does that bring you? To self-mastery. All right? So that's what I got for my fire babies. I love this for y'all. Please be in y'all joy. Please. Y'all got a whole party happening on y'all behalf, especially by the time we get to the next new moon. It would be such a shame if you guys don't take action. And this is wherever fire is in your chart. It doesn't have to be your sun sign. Like I said, you guys can get into whatever planets you have in the same area. Like I told y'all before, like I have my rising sign in Leo. So all the Leo placements or the Leo story I just told y'all, that would be all in my aura. You know what I'm saying? That would be all in my energy. I will feel that. You know, my Jupiter is also in Leo, so I would also feel that, you know, engaging in that alignment of my joy, my luck, my sacral chakra will also be locked in there. I don't have any Aries placements, but I did tell you guys about Sagittarius, so I would also be feeling that Lilith and Sagittarius energy too, especially with the, you know, other aspects and stuff. So that's an example. It just so happened these are my returns, so they're not really good examples. But like for some of you guys that don't have returns, you have other planets there. Like, you know, maybe you have your Mercury in Leo. So if your Mercury is in Leo and Jupiter is in Leo, it's time to start making more joyous experiences towards, you know, how you make money, because Jupiter is in Leo in the 2nd house right now. So that's your decision making, that's your rituals, that's your routine. If it's Venus now, we're in love. What do I prioritize, you know, here? What do I want to design here? We'll make sure it's something that you know, are going to have joy in, that expands you, you know, and also gives back, because Jupiter is the humanitarian. And Jupiter comes from a place of like infinite abundance. Like I have so much to give, you know. I'm never pouring from an empty cup. I have so much to give. Just make sure it's not coming from overactivity, because then you will be in la la land pouring from an empty cup. and we know, I've done it plenty of times, but we know people that do it. What's another example? If my Mars is in Leo, if your Mars is in Leo, it's your motivation. You know, you're motivated towards, you know, what brings you joy. And anger will be your sign, you know, that you're not in alignment. So, you know, different ways of saying the same thing, kind of. You get the pattern. So now, last but certainly not least, you know, we done went through the thoughts of air, we done felt it in our emotions of water, and then we took action with our fire, and now we're gonna bring it into the physical on our earth, right? The physical, being in the physical world, I won't say it's ass, but it is the slowest. So it's like you do all this work, you do all the things, is, wanting your fruit the same time you have a thought, or the same time you feel it, or the same time you put in action. That's not realistic. You get it last. It comes in the earth last, right? You have a thought, you realize I'm gonna have a baby. Now your emotions is all over the place, and all the water is doing the thing, and now you're nesting and da da da. And even after going through all three of those elements, guess what? The baby don't come until it comes. You know what I'm saying? So now we're gonna start with cardinal Earth, which we know is Capricorn energy, and this is wherever Capricorn is in your chart. So initially, during this new moon, we have Capricorn in the seventh house. There's no celestial bodies here yet. So seventh house is the Libra house, our interpersonal relationships, our bonds and contracts. So we're starting this new moon with some challenges happening in our interpersonal relationships. And I really feel like that's because we just went through all the other elements. It's time for us to make some decisions and some choices. See, I cut everybody off before the new moon even came, so kudos to me. Sunshine, stay on her memo. I have no problem with cutting somebody off as soon as they do so. Like, oh, you funny? This weird? Oh, okay. You watched my live for 400 minutes. I ain't even been on here for 400 minutes. Oh, you mean like overall in life? Okay, thank you. I was about to be, I was about to feel some type of way. But, yeah, so a lot of those challenges is coming from, that ain't shit, right? A lot of those challenges is coming from, being in your truth. It's time to be in your truth, make certain decisions, that need to be made, start this new moon off with. Some of the bonds that you're in, it's not always just like interpersonal relationships as far as romantic goes, but it's also bonds and contracts. Some of the people, places, things, situations that you're doing business with, that in cahoots with, it's challenges happening here. You're not really feeling it anymore. It's like, I need something different. I need something new. I don't like it here. The challenges, the disrespect, the disregard, it's just starting to become a lot. It's starting to become overwhelming, and I promise when I said that, I was speaking to myself too. And so it's just like, So now the challenge here is, what are we going to do different? What are we going to design here different? What's in our truth when it comes to, these challenges and, what we want to do here? And so we move on by the time we get to the full moon, you make whatever changes you're going to make, or whatever you face, whatever challenges you're going to make in these interpersonal relationships. And by the time we get to the full moon, because we done built ourselves up, Capricorn is now in the fourth house of our sense of belonging. Ooh, I like that. So you go ahead and deal with this. Deal with this now, because we're definitely going to nurture this energy later. You're going to have your comfort zones. Man, this new moon, please, y'all. I don't give a fuck what y'all signs is. If y'all ain't hear me already, the pattern is all my element babies. Y'all, make some changes. Do something different. Do what you want to do. Like, we literally living in the end of an empire. You are not here to keep it up. Like, that mindset of, if I keep working harder, because that's Capricorn, if I keep working harder, if I keep my head down, if I stay to what's expected, if I eventually things around me will fall apart. That's not how this works. Nobody's coming to save you. The government isn't going to wake up one morning and say, let's change all these rules to benefit the people we don't give a fuck about. Like, that's not going to happen. The corporations, the big guys, they're not going to wake up one day and say, let's pay them twice as much as we've been paying them so they can have a livable wage. Like, that's not going to fucking happen. You ever been in a relationship with somebody and from the rip is disrespect, right? And you keep forgiving, right? Like, it's cool, you didn't know, we're still learning each other. It's all about forgiveness. I'm gonna forgive you, I love it here, like, you're my baby. And then it's a pattern of disrespect, and it just keeps going and going. You keep forgiving and forgiving and forgiving, and then it gets to the point where now this motherfucker is doing the shit right in front of your face and no longer apologizing, because you've allowed yourself to get comfortable with the disrespect and the disregard. You did that to you. And that's the only reason why this motherfucker is still in your space. They're like, you're gonna be mad for like 24 hours. You're gonna forgive me. We're gonna have sex. We're gonna smoke a blunt together. Go out to eat. I give you a little bit of attention for a couple days. La la la, and then I'll be back to my bullshit because that's what we've become accustomed to now. You keep forgiving me. We know the routine at this point. Do you really think that your relationship with that job is any different? Do you really think your relationship with this government is any different? Look at the disrespect. Look at the disregard. It just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. How much further does it gotta go the fuck up for you to realize, like, yo, let me just go do what I wanna do because you're doing whatever the fuck you wanna do. And I'm not even making what I wanna do about you. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me finally giving myself what I deserve. It has everything to do with me finding some peace and healing with me and what I'm supposed to have and my dreams and my goals I have for myself. It don't got shit to do with you. I don't give a fuck if you benefit off of me doing for me or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, y'all. You gotta know when you in a shitty ass relationship. And I ain't just talking about romance. I'm talking about these friends. I'm talking about them family members. I'm talking about them funky ass co-workers. I'm talking about that organization you in, that religion you in, that temple you in. I'm talking about them community groups that you in. All that shit. All wherever you felt this applied, let that shit the fuck go. Let it go. Capricorn is like, if I keep my head down and I keep going on all 4 seasons, and if I ain't trying hard, no the fuck we're not. No, we're not. Okay? Don't do that to yourself. Be in your truth from the rip. Because once we get to the 4th house, that comfort zone is going to be accordingly. And like, who the fuck wants to be in a comfort zone that's not comforting? Have you ever had a home that didn't feel comfortable? I have. Majority of my life. I finally feel comfortable being home. Like, have you ever felt at home? Like, niggas be sitting in their car for hours on their phones, eat their food in the car, sit in the car, scroll for hours till it's time to go to bed. Like, who wants a home that's not comfortable? Why you keep accepting that? Why do you keep being a home that's uncomfortable for you? That doesn't make sense to me. You have to prioritize yourself. It's not about hard work and all that and who's the best one on the plantation. That we don't gotta keep doing that. We know you strong, we know you disciplined. So now be that for yourself. And then once we get to the next new moon, Capricorn will be in the 2nd house. So whatever you value and you prioritize, that's what you're gonna experience in response to you starting off being in your truth on that 7th house. What the fuck do you want? What are you willing to work for? Where's your discipline at? Who's your authority? Who's your authority in these bonds and contracts? Is that how you want it? Is that true? Is that balanced? Once we get to the full moon, are you nurturing? Are you nurturing yourself here in this discipline and order? Is it nurturing to you? Does it feel good? Is it a safe space here? Are you working towards the things that like are nurturing towards you? Or are they breaking you down? Are they depressing you? Are they making you sick? Hey, you know where I'm going with this. Now we can go into the mutable earth, my favorite, Virgo gang. We start off the new moon. Of course, we have the south node here. So this is our comfort zone. Our comfort zone has always been in our education, our routine, our schedule, being of service. Some of y'all being a martyr. I know I fall there too sometimes. I be overgiving, overdoing, I be over it too. I'm getting way better. I'm very proud of myself. I be cutting shit off a whole lot earlier than I used to. Pat me on the back. That's my journey. But Venus is also here. This is also my return too. I keep making it about me. I'm sorry. Venus is also here too. So it's like what we value and prioritize, we're starting to be more practical about it, grounded. It's easier to manifest what's in your heart right now. So if your heart is calloused and angry and stuff like that, it's going to be really easy for you to manifest those kind of things in your relationships, different, facets of love in the relationships, and also in your, materials too. So you want to make sure your heart is light as a feather here. Your emotions are in alignment here, because that's a heavy like manifesting combo there with Venus and Virgo. And the third house is also here. The third house is Gemini. So it is coming in response to your community and opportunities. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is coming to that mindset of put yourself out there. What the fuck do you want? What do I desire? You know, like I said, Venus and Virgo is manifesting. What do I desire? What do I want? Say with your whole heart. It's your heart that makes things happen. It's your feelings. It's your emotions that creates like the vertex. That's V. V is 4, right? We stabilize things on the 4. We build things on the 4. The brick is a 4. The square is a 4, right? That's the letter V. Venus, vertex, we out here. Okay? So Virgo, 4, we're out here. Put it out there and watch the community come to you. Like, say, you really want to be a painter. That's what you want to do. Put it out there. Be the painter. Watch your community come to you. The community is going to give you opportunities, spaces to communicate, the places to show yourself off, and the intellect, learning, going to class, finding a mentor, all these things is going to happen in response to you putting yourself out there. All right. Then by the time we get to the full moon, we're still going to have Venus there. At that point, it's going to be at a 21 degrees, so we're going to be more mutable. And then we still have the south node there, at a 1 degree. So it'll be in the 12th house now. So now we're going to be, when we get to the full moon, we're preparing for wanting, because now it's time to start cleaning some things that we have manifested in our heart, that we manifested in our desires, that now I don't think I want these things. I think I want to let some of these things go. Close up some things here that I have manifested in the past that just aren't serving me. It's not fun here anymore, because 12 is endings. We're letting things go. We're clipping things. We're bringing things to a close. Like I've completed this cycle here with this. I manifest the ending. Let's let it go. And that's pretty cool. We like it here. And also gaining some type of like intellect, spiritually speaking here too. It's cool because the 12th house is Pisces, that deals with inspiration and belief systems and stuff. We could very well be letting go some of those, belief systems and things that we've had in our head that may have hindered us from manifesting, but also those that could help you from manifesting. It depends on where you're at. Where you at. Just figure out what planets you have in Virgo. What other aspects that you had that may be affected by this Virgo energy, like your other mutable planets or your other Earth planets. All of that matters. All of that is what makes your personal astrological chart special. I'm giving y'all the collective reading, but your personal chart is really where the alchemy happens. You apply this to your personal chart, Then we get into, by the time we get to the new moon, we're going to be a success with the Virgo energy. And that's why a lot of Virgos have been getting those readings of expansion and abundance and all these things coming your way, because by the time we get to the next new moon, you guys would have worked your way up to that 10th house of success. Because you guys have been using your heart. Now, if y'all not using your heart, if y'all not, if y'all emotions is off, anger is that sign of not being in alignment. That fire in your heart is a sign of not being in alignment. Callous in your heart, always feeling negative and pessimistic and closed off and not allowing people and places and situations in to flow through, and Jesus knocking at the door and you like, I got a bolt lock on here and stuff. Jesus is a consciousness, that consciousness trying to get through to your heart and you're not letting it in, different things like that, because Earth can be stuck in the harvest just as much as Capricorn, that worker bee energy. If I gotta make it, I gotta see it, I gotta feel it for it to be here, for it to be real, for it to be whatever. And y'all just keep working because y'all don't know when to stop. It's like, you don't keep digging up, like, I want to plant, right? And I'm trying to grow some apples. Okay? I'm easy. I want to grow some apples. You don't keep planting a seed every day. You don't keep digging the dirt to check on the seed to see if the roots is growing every day. You don't water it every day because that can create a whole ecosystem that you don't want to have because there's a lot of stuff that grows in water that now it's too much water. You know what I'm saying? You don't it's a lot of things that you don't do every day all day. Sometimes you gotta take a breath and let the seed fucking grow. Leave it the fuck alone. Let it sit there. You did the work. Relax. You know what I'm saying? Capricorn is, the goat with it, of slow and steady, and I'm a worker bee, but Virgo becomes ritualistic with it. And Virgo also falls into addictions and obsessions just as much as Pisces does because they go into that overthinking, overwhelming. Virgo is actually the only constellation that has like a black hole in it too. So like that's where a lot of the overthinking, overanalyzing, and getting sucked in, into a routine and all that stuff can flow into too. So, relax, let your harvest do its job too. Trust the universe to do the things too, you know and then watch your success come at the end by the time you get to the next new moon. And then we got, last but certainly not least, I ain't gonna hold y'all too much longer, peace to the ones that's been here since the beginning, y'all some real ones. We have, I know who this is. Taurus, my babies, I love y'all, my love bugs, my thick stubborn love bugs. Y'all have Chiron over here, so that's a big one. Chiron actually has been in Aries for quite some time now. I want to say like the last 8 years or so. And in fact, I'll give y'all precise. I won't even play in y'all face because y'all know I've been doing the planetary forecast for many years, many moons, and I do have it written down when they entered, and I know exactly where I wrote it at. So, hold on. I take pictures in my brain when I write notes down, so I know exactly where I see it at. I just gotta find the paper. I got it. It's all in me. Chiron entered Aries in like 2018, 2019. The first time it entered Aries was September 2018, and then it was like locked in by February 2019. And so now it's like officially out. It's in, Taurus energy. We do have a retrograde happening, and so it will go back into Aries, probably like just a 29-degree, but then we should be officially locked in by this winter with Chiron. I believe so. I believe. Yeah. By the end of retrograde season, I think we'll be officially locked in with Chiron. But Chiron deals with our wounds and how we transmute our wounds into strengths, right? And so a lot of our wounds come from the physical world. We have been conditioned to value and prioritize certain kind of currencies. Right now, the space is in the 10th house. Okay, so Chiron is in the 10th house in Taurus. So yeah, I was on the right track. I want to make sure I ain't misleading y'all. So yeah, certain kind of currencies, status, like, oh, I went to college, or I got this degree, I got that kind of house, I got this kind of car, whatever it was that we deemed was successful. And some of us, have been raised to think certain things were signs of success, and now we're adults and we're like, bro, I went to school, I got the job, I got the career, I did where the fuck are my things? And now we're dealing with this wound of maybe it's not everything, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And it's like just learning how to transmute those kind of wounds of, what we felt like was owed to us in the realms of material, but also in love. A lot of us grew up with the mindset that I was gonna have these kind of friends. I know UPN gave a lot. UPN, WB, I'm showing my age a little bit, ain't I? Those different kind of primetime shows we grew up watching. These were professionals. They worked for marketing companies. They were lawyers. They were doctors. They were, even the receptionist or the secretary was like prestige, and she wore these beautiful clothing, and she had the amazing, love life. And like we grew up watching these things. These things conditioned us to have this mindset of, even if I worked in fucking fast food, I would be able to obtain certain things and maintain a certain lifestyle and have a certain kind of love life. Like, These were all in the shows we grew up watching, right? Even like the Wayans brothers, they worked in a diner with their dad. They had a business, and it was still beautiful. It was still romanticized, right? Even D, she was the security guard. Even that wasn't romanticized. Now we come into the real world, and it's like, bro, all of this shit is working poor. All of this shit is struggle. All of this shit is strife. All this shit is hurting us and breaking us and doing these things. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? This is not what UPN promised us. This is not what WB this is not what Nickelodeon promised us. Everything is supposed to be romanticized. Everything is supposed to be great, and even when it's hard, it's still togetherness. And you got the audience button saying oh, and then by the end of the episode everything is solved and it's great and we love it here, right? So what the fuck is going on? Kyron is here to help heal some of the expectations we have had in this realm of love and things, and our moral codes on how we've obtained the things we love and stuff, and also helping us to deal with some of the wounds that we have incurred watching other people break moral codes that we were brought into. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was taught if I do the right thing, da da da. But I'm seeing all the people do these wrong things and evil things, and they're the only ones that having like this quality of life that was promised to me. And it's like, no, it's not about breaking the rules. It's not about breaking your moral code. Venus deals with, like, I know Mercury deals with like the moral and integral code, but Venus deals with the moral and integral code on how you obtain matters of the heart. Okay? So it's like, you don't have to be a dickhead to have women. You don't have to be a womanizer. You don't have to be a man eater. You don't have to hate other people to have things. You know what I'm saying? That's how those people are dealing with the Chiron and Taurus. And it's coming out. And we're starting to see it because the celestial body is in alignment for that to be open in the open field. Their hearts aren't good. You know what I'm saying? I don't want y'all to remove yourselves from the desire of things, but it's also showing us how a lot of the things are actually hurting us more than it's healing in the material world too. And we'll see a lot more of that too. Certain material things, certain kind of relationships being more destructive than helpful. And it's going to bring us to certain kind of moral codes of, are we going to keep using these devices? Are we going to keep using these systems? Are we going to keep using these different things? And yes, it creates a sense of comfort or whatever it is. But if it's hurting us, is it good? Is it something we should keep? Right? Damn, all that was in the 11th house. 11th house is with electronic communication too. So that whole devices and system and all that stuff like that is there too. I don't have to repeat all that. Then we get into the full moon. By the time we build ourselves up to the full moon, Chiron is still there at 0 degrees, just getting us started in there with. Right now, we're just facing the wounds. We ain't do nothing yet. We're just facing the wounds. By the time we get to maybe the mid-fixed point or a little bit after the fixed point, we'll start transmuting the wounds a little bit better. But right now, we're just realizing them. Like, bro, this is what the fuck is going on. You'll see a lot more relationship wars coming out between families, starting off as in friendships on the 11th house. Now, by the time we get to the full moon, it's in the 8th house of transformations and revelations. Like I said, we're still just like seeing the things, things that have been secret and hidden, because that's what Scorpio deals with. Also jealousies, starting to face certain jealousies that we have in our wounds of seeing other people that have things and stuff like that, and how some people are going to act. Some people are going to act on these jealousies. You'll start seeing like people's family members or friends, like we've already been seeing. They were like pre-gaming us for, but like you see your cousin or your sister, your ex-girlfriend or baby mom having all these awesome things, and now you want to write a tell-all book. You know what I'm saying? Now you want to go online and say, this is this and that. Like you'll see people try to tear people down, in that way to build themselves up. And that's just how they're dealing with that Taurus wound, to be honest with you. More revelations on how people are obtaining the material things too. And then also power couples coming to the forefront, as they have been already lately, especially with Pluto over there in Aquarius. So a lot of, power couple energy, in the ones and zeros. Even if revelations, a lot of people, power couples being broken down and a lot of power couples being built up at this period of time. So it's just a matter of where you are at on that spectrum of things, what you want to do. And then by the time we get to the next new moon, Taurus is going to be in the sixth house. So we go from dealing with the ones and zeros and dealing with our thought process of success and what it was, to going through transformations and revelations, to now we're inputting things in our routine on how we want to obtain and maintain certain things. I see shadows a lot off the corner of my eye. But that's where we're at with it. That's pretty cool. You know, it, it doesn't start off easy, but it's gonna get there. You know, my Taurus babies, wherever Taurus is at in your chart, you guys just learning how to cope with, like, if you already know, it's a balance between your emotions and what you have, what you feel and what you have. And if you're too far deep into what you have, you already know what's going to happen until you learn how to have that balance. I talked about it day before yesterday with Daddy Warbucks in the Annie movie, when she was like, you know, you have all these nice things and da da da. And he was like, I like nice things, and she was like, but do these things love you back? And he was like, oh shit, bitch, I never thought about it like that before. Let me adopt this little girl and fall in love with you, because I want the things and I want love. You know, I want a balance of the two. I want to be in my truth and my heart and stuff like that. So that's an example. Anyway, for my earth signs, it's empowering transformations happening for y'all. We out here. You know, menstrual cycles aren't always fun, but they're cleansing. We're letting go of this shadow self that's like, I need the things and I need to work and I need to struggle and I need to. Yeah, no more of that. We out here, okay? And it also like falls into that analogy I was giving y'all of, you know, when y'all plant a tree and stuff. Then we also have the moon and Pluto. So we're nurturing our transformations. We're embracing our transformations. We're creating a safe space for our transformations for us. You know, I know how Earth, we could be stubborn and be fixed, and we want to do the things and we want to ground ourselves and we always want our feet in the earth. But this is calling for us to be more so in the waters and learn how to go with the flow, because the moon is Cancer, that's water. Pluto is Scorpio, that's water. So it's time to learn how to flow. Flow, guys, flow. This number is 7. So 7 is inner God. That's the celestial designer. You guys get the star card too. So we gotta trust. I know trust is not earth. I know trust, you can't grab it and hold it and let it flow through your fingers. I get it. It's a little too airy. It could be a little too watery for us. I understand. Majority of my chart is earth. Okay. However, trust and faith are big here. Trust and faith are very big here. And guess what? The universe knows that when you're not moving in trust and faith, because that's the language that the universe speaks in. It speaks in your vortex, your vibration. You know what I'm saying? So you can say whatever you want out this throat chakra, but if your vibration ain't lit, ain't in it, it's affecting your behavior, what you attract, all the things. So be mindful of that. Then I pulled the death card again. So usually it's like a baby up here. So it's like we're in a new space. Again, new earth, y'all. Earth babies, you guys are literally the personification of new earth. So that sucks, but in the same part, you guys are the personification of what the new earth will look like. You know what I'm saying? Wherever earth is at in your chart, it's showing like, where are you going to go with it? Are you going to go in the AI realm with it? Are you going to go in the artificial AI, or are you going to go into the authentic AI? Are you going to go towards nature, or are you going to go towards, you know, man-made, having built, or maybe you think you figured out how to be in the middle? I don't know. Like, you know, it's wherever you want to be, but it's like we're the personifications of those things, you know, of what the changes are happening. And you'll see a whole lot more earth signs and people ruled by the earth stars coming out into that energy. We also have, what parts of stuff to focus on is the Ace of Swords. So we're focusing on our Ketters, our Asar, our awareness of depth of being. Again, it comes back into that spiritual energy of yourself, faith, trusting the vortex, knowing how to utilize that energy. Read The Secret, listen to Abraham Hicks, listen to Reverend Ike. I mean, I'm not telling you to listen to, these are people I listen to. William Donahue is another one, Brother Panic, Bobby Hemmett kinda, but not entirely too much when it comes to like trust and faith in the vortex. He more so gives you guys like esoteric, like Capricornish kind of energy. But you can flow into that and like alchemize the information because he does go back and forth a little bit. But heavy on like being optimistic, being out there, perseverance in your, is this orange or red? I don't know. My sight is going away because it's almost bedtime. But perseverance in your sacral chakra. What brings you joy? What brings you expansion and abundance? What feels good to you? And discontentment is a sign of one, the fact that we're being the example of what it looks like for a new earth to come through. And we know that giving birth is extremely painful. The preparation of giving birth is painful, whether you have a fertilized egg or not. You know, it's a very uncomfortable experience. However, this is what we're experiencing. And Kim Brand was saying, it's a reminder of, you know, I was promised that if I work real hard, if I do this, if I do that, if I behave this way, if I do, this was going to come to me. But it's not just about doing. It's about believing. It's about having faith. It's about trusting. It's about being in emotional alignment and all that stuff like that. So, a lot of discontentment will come from that disconnect. I didn't like that reading too much. But it's a good one. It's just like, it's just letting you know, like, you know, it's not going to be easy because we're so accustomed to the mindset of things, you know, materialistic. We live in a physical world, so of course I want things and the things and the things on the things on the things. And I'm looking on the internet all day, and people are always flossing and flaunting these things or trying to sell me things and some of the things that I want, and I can't get the things because I don't have enough things to get the things. And you know, it makes more thing like, you know, I get it. So, as far as right now in the new moon energy, we do have a triangle happening. The top of the triangle is the MC line, where we have Neptune, our dreams, our subconscious, tapping into your Akashic records, getting into your spiritual self, sitting here listening to sunshine for 2 fucking hours, and our vertex over there in Aries, new beginnings energy. And at the bottom of the triangle, we have Pluto creating transformations in society as response to our dreams and our subconscious, what we're putting up in the cosmos. So for some of you guys that want to hold hands and do crazy shit in the woods and all that stuff and do shit around the fire, good idea. On the other side, we have another air sign. We have Uranus, and that's where we have them in Gemini and community. So you have the progressive pushes happening in community, you have transformations happening in society, and it's all coming from you tapping into your dreams and the vertex in Aries. So that's a really dope triangle to start this new moon with for my spellcasters out there. We'll definitely get into it, y'all. And then in opposition, we have Pluto and Aquarius in opposition to Jupiter and Leo. And so Jupiter's providing that expansion, that abundance, that joy, that generosity, while Pluto is creating the transformations in society as a response. So again, this comes back into my spot, my statement of y'all really embodying the things that y'all want to do and what brings you joy, and like just how you want things to go, and get out of that mindset of what we've been taught as far as like, you know, some of you, like if y'all was raised like me, like when I was younger, I always wanted to get into counseling. You know what I'm saying? I always wanted to be a counselor, therapist, shit. At one point in time, I wanted to be the president of the United States. But I always wanted to get into some type of space of like helping people. And when I was younger, the knowledge of psychology wasn't where it is now. So it was always, there's no jobs in that. You'll never get a job. You know, look at me now. I made my own business out of it. You know what I'm saying? And then also like that starving artist mindset, like artists, you know, don't have a job, they're homeless, they're this, they're that, you know, different things like that. It's just like being creative, because Jupiter's over there in the second house in Leo. So it's like being creative about what you want to create in your space, but that will also help you get your abundance and your finances and, you know, your things, especially as society is transforming. Again, this is the end of an empire. Then when we get to the full moon, we have a couple triangles But the top of that triangle is the vertex. Actually, it's Neptune. Neptune is at the top of that triangle again. So once again, we're focusing on the new beginnings and of our subconscious. Then supporting that triangle, we have Uranus providing the progressive pushes in Gemini, and then we have the Moon nurturing society in Aquarius in the fifth house. Our inner creative, again coming back to that romanticizing. The Moon and Pluto will be in conjunction. They're only going to be like a degree apart, if not like right on top of each other for occultation. And so, embodying more transformations. It's still a reminder that your dreams and your subconscious should be leading the way for you guys. We're putting those paradigms together, if you will. And society is going to flow with it because our North Node is going towards Pisces. So our dreams and our subconscious and all those things should be leading the way, to make this new earth, the new reality, the new tribe, the new community is going to be around. Don't be afraid to do new shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to break, what we've been accustomed to. You see so many other people doing it and you get inspired and you say, I wish I could. Then you turn around and be like, well, I can't because I've been indoctrinated to do blah, 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 blah. And then we have like I guess we can call this an isosceles triangle. And at the top of that triangle is the moon. At the bottom, of course, we have Uranus once again providing those, progressive pushes in our community. And then on the other side of the triangle, we have Jupiter, who is also in opposition of the moon, providing those expansions and abundance in our creativity. All right, so we can create that triangle as well. Hey, happy Cancer moon, sis. Happy new moon. Then we have so I told you we got a lot going on by the next new moon. We even have a triangular pyramid happening, which is really fucking cool. So we have got a lot going on. I'll start with the rectangle. So the four corners of the rectangle is Pluto with the progressive pushes, Neptune providing, leading the way with our subconscious, our dreams. On the other side of the rectangle, you can either go with Mercury providing decision making or Jupiter providing expansion and abundance over there in Leo energy, how we create towards the ninth house. And then on the other side, we have not Pluto, that's Venus. Venus, what we value and prioritize in our bonds and contracts with that Libra energy towards the 11th house of society, right? I like that. I like Venus being over there in Libra in the 11th house to start the new moon at because, that is going to help us find balance in this new society and things. A lot of people are going to move or be moved. That makes me very nervous because I really desire stability. Then we also have, like I said, we have like a triangular pyramid type situation happening here. And that the top of that pyramid is Venus and Libra in the 11th house. So different bonds and contracts that we're in society, will be at the top of this pyramid. And then at the bases, we have Pluto providing transformations in society. We have Uranus providing pushes in community. And then once again, we have the Mercury and Jupiter expanding and helping us make decisions in Leo. So I think that's pretty cool too. And then another triangle could be Neptune at the top, Pluto and Uranus at the bottom. We have another one with Pluto at the top, Mars giving us motivation over there in Cancer, locking us in Cancer, while Neptune is in Aries, so our dreams leading the way, and our solar plexus chakra kind of being locked into our subconscious. So it's like at that point, it's more so a lot of ritualistic things happening during that time, more spiritual, more faith, more trust. The star cards that I was pulling, like it's not just about do. What are you being? What are you embodying? What do you believe in? What do you have faith in? Right? And like I said, align these placements with your personal placement. I gave y'all a general reading about what's happening in the cosmos, so you get into your personal so you can see your relation with the time that's happening, know, how this external clock is going around you and in you and upon you and all that fun stuff. And if you would like a personal reading, pull up on me. I am doing retrograde season readings at this moment. I'm also doing eclipse season readings because, like I said, starting the next new moon will be an eclipse season. Yeah, I know I love it there. And, you know, check in with me. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, share. Oh, it's 3:33, y'all. Because I do a daily mathematics where I talk about more detail when transits are happening into new zodiacs and new constellations, where the moon is at, and all that. So you can, like, you know, pay attention on a smaller scale too. Because I know I gave y'all a lot, but you know, it's happening every day. So I do a daily drawing too. So that's what I got for y'all. I'm gonna let y'all go on this beautiful Tuesday, this day of Mars. Y'all enjoy y'all day. Reach out if you would like a personal reading. Tell a friend and tell a friend that I exist. I love that. But be in your power. Overall, just be in your power. Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. And trust that the abundance that you're supposed to have is going to come in response to doing what you want to do. Being in your power. It's not about looking at what works for somebody else. I'm watching this other person do this thing their way, and I think that if I copy and paste, it'll work the same for me. It doesn't work that way. You gotta do what's in your heart and do what you want to do. If you're trying to copy and paste what somebody else is doing, whether somebody else is force feeding you an ebook that they wrote so that you can do things exactly how they doing it, when they doing it, whatever, it's not gonna work because that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? You could buy the ebook to support, read it over. You might be able to cherry pick some shit, but don't copy and paste somebody else's journey. That's not for you. That's their journey. Your journey is not going to be exactly like that. You're going to try to walk in somebody else's footsteps and then be mad because it don't happen as fast or this, that, and the third. And meanwhile, they telling you all the good parts. They not telling you all the trials and tribulations that they went through to get to where they at either. So that's a whole nother situation. Are you willing to eat their karma that they went through? Like some of y'all trying to be in my footsteps. You willing to get hit by a car? You willing to be dealing with a whole bunch of child abuse and nonsense and weird ass family members and stuff like that? You willing to die on a mountain by yourself? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But we only show the good parts. We only want to talk about the good parts, and that's fine. But every now and then, it's okay to remind people of, you know, your testimony of how it brought you there. That way it can empower people with their own personal testimony instead of you trying to, you know, force feed people to do what you do, how you do it. You know what I'm saying? But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. And for those of you guys on TikTok that came in midway, I do this on YouTube too. It is recorded. My page is Less Nobodies 1465, but you could just type in Less Nobodies and it should pop up. But y'all have a good night. Peace, y'all. I love you guys so much. It was so fun. I love it here. This is my passion.